I think we're waiting for our video to go. Oh, good, there it is. I think we're waiting for our video to go. I think we're waiting for our video to go. All right, I think we're live. Katie, if you want to just mute your video, we can go straight into the show. All right, thank you all so much for joining us for our first ever TechRise pitch competition. We're so excited to have you here and to have all the founders here on stage. For those of you unfamiliar with TechRise, I am Desiree Vargas Wrigley, the executive director and two-time Latina founder here in Chicago. And TechRise is a multi-stakeholder initiative designed in partnership between P33 and Verizon, really with an effort to help support and elevate our city's Black and Latinx founders by giving them the resources that they need the most. So access to capital, networks, and knowledge. Each week, 3 to 5 startups will pitch their ideas in front of a panel of judges live here on our YouTube station, followed by a short Q&A. And then the judges will deliberate real time, and we will announce the winners before the top of the hour, so at 1 o'clock. So please stay tuned so you can make sure to see the most exciting part of the show. And then before we introduce our judges, I do want to say a few minutes just about how important this is for our city and for our city's founders of color. As you saw in the opening video, Chicago is one of the most diverse cities in the country, or in the world even, with nearly 30% representation across our Black, Latinx, and white communities. But only 1.9% of venture funding goes to support our Black and Latinx founders. So some might see TechRise in some ways as a counter to that economic injustice, and in some ways that's true. But I really want to encourage us every Friday from now on to think about not just that, but about how we can celebrate these bold visionaries by telling that some of them for the very first time that we see you, we believe in you, and we as a city are here to give freely of our resources, our time, and our networks to make sure that you succeed. So for many founders, for every Friday from now on, this will be one of their first times ever pitching in front of an investor or an operator. Some of them are going to be really nervous and some of them are going to slay, but no matter what, they're stepping out of the comfort of their neighborhoods and their careers and really kind of overcoming that self-doubt and fear of judgment in order to bring their ideas to life. So it is my hope that you will embrace all of them, not just the prize winners, and that you really will be generous with your own resources, networks, and your knowledge to make sure that they understand that Chicago is coming together as their friends and family. So there are 2 easy ways to do this. The first is, as you'll see at the bottom of the YouTube listing, there are links next to every founder's name, and that is where you can go and sign up to mentor them directly. And you can, put in some information about your areas of expertise. So it could be anything from just business strategy to, if you are a technical person, you could be a technical advisor. Maybe you're a really great email marketer. They all need help with that. So you can volunteer there with your time. And then of course, funding. TechRise is aspiring to be a $5 million fund, but we're not quite there yet. And while a lot of our money is coming from corporate philanthropy and institutional philanthropy, we're also really trying to demonstrate that every citizen is coming together to be the friends and family round of funding for these founders. So whether you have $5 or $500 or maybe even $5,000, we hope that you will consider contributing at techrise.co/donate. 100% of the tax deductible gift goes directly to the founders that you see on stage. So from now until 12:55, every dollar that comes in will go to the founders you see today. And after that time, it'll go to next week's founders for our idea stage that's coming up. Our goal is to hit $25,000 for today. And I'm excited to say that we're already at 26,000, but as you probably know, 26,000 isn't quite enough to start a business. So as much as our community can come together, the better. And then finally, I want to invite all of the aspiring entrepreneurs who may not even know that they're an entrepreneur in the audience to apply. So if you have an idea, you are welcome on the TechRise stage. You don't need to have a website. You don't need to have an LLC or even a business formed. You just need an idea and you need to come on stage and tell us about it, and we would love to support you. All right, so we can do that at techrise.co/apply. All right, now I'm ready to invite our wonderful judges. So I'll ask you to come off of video mute. The first of our judges is Sonia Nagar. She is an entrepreneur, an angel investor, and a VC at the Community Fund and the Pritzker Group. She invests in pre-seed and growth stage and has amazing wins, including Backlot Cars and Wander. And she also has a growing kid-centric tea line. So welcome, Sonia.
Thanks for having me, Desiree.
I'm so glad to have you. Next, we have Edgar Mendoza. He is an exciting emerging angel investor here in Chicago. And he also spends his kind of day job time helping early stage founders access the technology that they need to grow and scale their businesses. He invests in companies like Cameo and Cash Drop, and he also has his own CBD line called Stay Alive. And then finally, we have Jason Helter joining us from Origin Ventures, who was maybe most famously known for helping identify Grubhub as a huge potential back in the day, but Jason's been part of an investor in our ecosystem for a long time and has seen so many incredible deals. He sits on many boards across our city and country, including our kind of hometown hardware favorite, Tovala. So welcome, Jason. Oh, and he also is an adjunct professor at Booth. Thank you all for joining. And I know Edgar's on the call, but I don't see him joining on video yet. So hopefully he'll be able to come on soon. Okay, so we are now ready to introduce our first startup that is going to be pitching. I would like to introduce Redondo and Erikc Perez-Perez. Erikc, you ready to join us?
Thank you, Desiree. Yes, thanks everybody for having me here. Obviously for taking the time. This is really meaningful for myself and the community. You want me to just dive right into the pitch, Desiree?
Yep, that would be great. Go for it. It's all yours.
Great. Let's see. I'll go ahead and screen share. Are you guys able to see the
Yep.
deck? Full screen now, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
You got it.
All right, so my name is Erikc Perez-Perez, co-founder and CMO of Resonado Labs. So when I typically tell people that we're an audio tech startup and that we design speaker transition technologies, people hear speaker and immediately think of this, right? The conventional electrodynamic loudspeaker recognized by everybody as the volume icon. This was invented over a century ago in the 1920s, literally during the decade of the invention of sliced bread. And this technology is still being used in all audio products today, even the most innovative like electric cars, smart speakers. So this technology had a good run and was particularly well suited for large speakers, which is what people used to be into, right? This is what, you know, a typical living room used to look like. And now if you walk into the average household, you'll see something more like this, right? It's a trend of product miniaturization is happening across industries. People want sleek, modern products that are unobtrusive. And so this trend is going to continue, right? The demand for design conscious audio solutions will continue to increase with the next generation of devices like AR, VR glasses, autonomous electric vehicles, and connected home devices. So the industry sort of found itself scrambling to come up with a solution for what people wanted now and starting to come up with something for what people are going to want tomorrow. And this was what they were able to come up with. So they basically retrofitted this existing structure that they were using and made it to where it has a thinner profile, right? But the only problem is that this resulted in a design with a motor that unevenly distributes force along the diaphragm, resulting in an inefficient product with poor sound performance. So that's sort of what you're seeing here in this visual. This yellow circle represents the voice coil, which is the motor, and that's what's driving the diaphragm, which pushes the air to create sound. And so we foresaw this trend, and our CEO and CTO, LH and Brian, father and son, invented flat core speaker technology, a novel type of electrodynamic speaker driver that delivers both a slim form factor without compromising sound performance. So we branded this technology FCS for short. Going into a little bit how it works. FCS technology, like I said, is an electrodynamic speaker type, right? So what that means is it functions in the same way as a conventional speaker. So it functions with the same physics, the same essential components. All we did is restructure the components in a way that enabled us to create something slimmer and far more efficient while using the existing speaker supply chain. The magic in the technology is in the motor. With the flat voice coil adhered to a flat diaphragm, our motor is able to distribute force evenly across the entire surface, leading to a smoother frequency response. Another big thing that we can do here is having dual motors, which enables us to create subwoofers, which is a big differentiator to other speaker types. So this is the team. Myself, Brian, and Peter co-founded this company when we were juniors at the University of Notre Dame in 2017. We've now expanded the team to build something that could go after this $10 billion market. And knowing that FCS could be applicable across all of these different industries, we decided to take a two-pronged approach to market entrance, right? We started by proving our concept in niche markets like RV. Our first product is launching this summer with Airstream. The RV company will be across boat dealerships by August by having FCS enabled boats. And what we realized though was that it would take years for us to design and manufacture drivers for every industry, right? One by one. And so that's why we're taking that two-pronged approach where our overarching business model is really licensing so that we can enter several industries at once, all by licensing FCS technology to companies that already have established product lines, brands, and consumer base. So these are some of the partners that we're currently working with and have set a soundbar specifically to launch by the end of this year in that space as well. So last year,
I want to give time for Q&A, so I want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right,
No,
time
please.
for the judges to ask some questions. Okay, great. Go for it.
Thanks for the presentation. Can you tell us about whether this is something that's patentable and is there a process underway to protect the intellectual property?
Absolutely. So we already have several issued patents covering the technology, all of the structures that I showed you. And we have several more on the way. We actually just got another issued patent last month for bidirectional speaker, which plays on both sides. That's something completely new. And we're working with DLA Piper to further expand and protect our IP portfolio.
So talk to us a little bit about the licensing process. What all does that entail? Where are you in finding people to agree to licensing deals?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was definitely something that we had to explore. At first, we were going to the Fords, the Teslas, the Samsungs, the Amazons directly to pitch them this technology, right? Ask to license, can you implement this into your product? And what we realized is that a lot of these companies are actually no longer, they're basically just assemblers, especially in the automotive industry. And so they're getting all of their audio systems from the OEM, ODMs, manufacturers. And so now that's sort of our process. We go straight to the OEM, ODMs, which are the ones that actually source new technologies, put them together, and then pitch them to the actual brands who then say, okay, we want to put this in our next products line. And so once we discovered that, that's how we've been getting all of our deals, but then also maintaining relationships that we had already established with the brands and having the brands push the OEMs and ODMs to prioritize our technology into the systems that they're designing.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. That was wonderful. And we'll hear more from you later. Best of luck to you. All right. Now it is time for us to welcome Dominique Wilson from RiseKit. So Dominique, when you're ready, go ahead and jump into your presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Desiree. Thank you everyone from TechRise community for welcoming me and our team at RiseKit. And so I'll love to share more. So I'm going to share my screen now. So to give you all a sense, I'm a gentleman that grew up on Chicago's West Side. And I've had opportunities to work here in the US domestically, but also abroad in Africa, both in the public and private space. Upon aspiring with building RiseKit, it's been started by some colleagues of mine, and we are encompassing our economic mobility network for overlooked job seekers. Personally, for me, I started RiseKit because of my family. To give you an example, one of my cousins, I won't go too deep, but he's had many challenges and he's been homeless before, right? And he's tried working with different organizations and different community members and employers, but they oftentimes overlook him and don't give him the chance that he needs. And I challenged him growing up to think differently and to really aspire to be something different for his life, and really had him thinking. And this is where RiseKit came along, right? Helping him identify the employment challenges he had, if he needed any support, transportation, housing, right? Where these organizations can provide to him. In addition, ultimately getting employment. And this is what RiseKit is about, bringing a network of resources in one place. And that's how we actually have started to work with foundations and government systems and different employers throughout Chicago and many other cities in the US. To give you a sense, we are a multi-sided product. And so, for example, Jamal could log in and anyone else to share his goals and aspirations. And we give him a personalized employment pathway. He can upload his resume, and in addition to that, find resources, jobs, right, that these training partners post and or our employer partners who we support not only with placements, but also retention as well. In respects to our government and foundation partners, be able to understand the analytics that they need to understand what the challenges, but also what's working, and allow collaboration across their networks. To give you all a sense of some of our partners, we just closed the Chicago Family Support Services. In addition to that, many employers as well, as you all can see. This is our pricing structure. Our foundations and government systems can vary between $250 a month to $3,000 a month. In addition to our employer partners, $250 to about $4,000 a month. To give you all a sense of our traction, we've increased our traction tremendously. As you all can see in Q3, many job candidates applying, and we had different training partners and organizations we were working with. And then we started getting more employers. And you see that growth in Q4. And as we hit just this past Q1, we've seen a tremendous growth of candidates, organizations, when we brought on our government partner, DFSS. This is our potential, right? And many more. And so Chicago alone, one of our investors, I actually can't tell you right now, but said that we could reach up to 5 million in revenue to Chicago alone because of our government partner contracts. And we definitely have some potentials in the pipeline from CTA and many others. And we are also looking at many other cities that we're going out into. Currently, our MRR is 26,000 as well. As you all can see, our potential market growth, I'm glad to kind of dive into that with questions. And this is our team, the great people that keep us going. And we have some great people that support us, from those that came from DonorPath, which was acquired by Network for Good, in addition to Redfin, which recently had hit an IPO. The time is now, not only for you all to support us, but also for us to make impact for lives, getting people employed, getting people connected to resources. If you're interested, let us know. As you all can see, there's a huge gap. The employment is rising. And so we need to be that solution to connect people to opportunities. This is our current round. We have some commitments from several investors, in addition to Verti Opportunity Zone Fund and also Stand Together Foundation. I'm glad to dive into questions and elaborate further. We have an appendix that we can go into, but I thank you all very much for this time and the opportunity to share my passion to create a difference in lives.
Great job. I'll invite the judges now to ask some questions.
Thank you. And I also welcome my colleague, Matt, on the show. He's one of our co-founders as well, to be a complement to the questions as well.
Thanks, Tom.
Desiree, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Edgar, go ahead.
Awesome. So, Dominique, me being a Latino, obviously I really appreciate what you're doing, but what really motivates you, right? Because at the end of the day, all this stuff is great. It's like, what why keep doing this, right? Obviously, you know, this stuff is tough, this stuff is hard, and obviously being black and brown, that's kind of how we grew up. Like, what's been like where you like feel so satisfied to keep pushing forward? Like, if you can give me experience that like really keeps you like, don't give up, keep going, right? Keep helping.
I love that question, Edgar, and I share that because for me, of course, I mentioned my family, but looking at the generational impact we can have on lives. When my cousin Jamal told me about him getting his first job at McDonald's, he was so excited. He was able to get a roof over his head, right? And I think about my family members and other people in our community that oftentimes don't always have the resources in front of them, and they are disregarded. And to give a chance to someone to get food on their table, have a roof over their heads, that only impacts their lives, but it impacts their families, their children, and then ultimately the education that they have available to them, the resources and their livelihood. And that, to me, for me, my own life, I've always been very selfless and thinking about other people, how we can lift other people's lives up. And if we can do that tangibly through this, and we've been seeing those results, I want to continue and bring that to many cities and many communities, not only here, but potentially in other places that need it as well.
That's phenomenal, man. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
But Sonia or Jason, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, Dominique, this is an important business, so thanks for building it. How do you scale up the number of employers? What's your plan to recruit a lot of them on the platform, especially as you go to other cities where your networks might be different? Yeah, that's a great question, and we've been very thoughtful with that mindset, and actually lead the employer team alongside Matt. And we've been very tactical in bringing on diverse employer partners in different markets, but also based on the need that those communities have. So our go-to-market strategy varies, particularly on working with foundation partners that may support in workforce development and targeting those institutions that may train people in forklift trainings, training them in CDL opportunities, and getting them placed to those entry-level, because our niche is entry-level roles, right? But also those mid-sized companies that are at about 5 million or less in their revenues, right? And really targeting them. Those pain points are so much to the point where they're competing against like Amazon and all these other higher companies. So that's what they're searching for online. And so really connecting them to those companies that oftentimes can't get the same amount of volume that those other top companies can get as well.
And I'll add to that, well said, Dom. We have a network effect, as you saw on that slide with those 3 maps. So Jason, right now, most of these training providers and communities, they communicate in a mass email format with all their employer partners and others. So they're actually inviting us, those employer partners, to our software. We qualify them, as Dom mentioned. They have to have about 10 million in revenue, $100 million in revenue for us to like try to go close them. If they're outside of that, we just let them stay on for free. So right now, our cost to acquire those employers is in the high hundreds. Which is a little bit high, but luckily we're getting a lot of network effect that's starting to happen as we're here in Chicago, where they're inviting all their partners.
Thanks, guys.
Great job, guys. It's now time for us to welcome our next competitor. We have Nico Aguilar from Speeko. And you can just go when you're ready, Nico.
Got it. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Loud and clear.
Yep.
Okay. Hi, I'm Nico, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Speeko. And we're building Grammarly for your voice. This means you can use our app when you're speaking to record yourself, just like I'm doing right now, and get AI feedback on things like your filler words, your speaking pace, and how to sound more dynamic. You also get feedback on your word choice, things like jargon, hedging language, and non-inclusive language, like when you say, hey guys. Based on our advanced voice analytics that we've spent the past 3 years building in-house, you're then matched with short, interactive exercises to help you build that muscle memory around speaking more confidently and clearly. The reason public speaking is so important to me is because it's something I've always struggled with. I can remember back in college having to give a presentation in front of my rhetoric class, and I just bombed my presentation and had a full-on anxiety attack. For me, my communication skills were a journey, and it took years, and even working with a professional speech coach. And that journey changed my life. With Speeko, we're on a mission to use all of today's advances in AI and voice technology to make these skills accessible to everyone. Now let's talk numbers. We bootstrapped Speeko to over $500,000 in sales, and we're on track to reach 5 million in lifetime sales by next year. We've quickly become the #1 rated speech coaching app on the App Store. And to date, our app has helped over 100,000 people, with over 65% of those being women and people of color. We use a B2C freemium subscription model with subscriptions that cost $12 a month or $50 a year. Over the past 12 months, we've had a compound monthly growth rate of 14% through organic search and speech coaches as distribution partners. Plus, we're starting to do some digital marketing where we're seeing lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratios of 2-to-1, with a direct path to LTV to CAC ratios of 4-to-1 as we continue to improve our retention. Our next steps are to launch B2B and build our vision to be everywhere your voice is. For example, imagine being on your next Zoom and getting suggestions from Speeko on how to speak more concisely and inclusively. And now imagine everyone on your team getting that same kind of feedback too. That's where we're going. And the market is massive. 70% of people want to improve their communication. And today, organizations are spending already $7 billion on this specific problem. If we're fortunate enough to win today, we'll use this capital to hire an Android engineer. And that's going to let us launch on the Google Play Store and open us up to 130 million Android users in the US. I want to close by mentioning that to me, Speeko is much more than a tech company. Coming from a family with loved ones who struggle to speak English, I've seen firsthand how the way you speak and how you communicate impacts your personal and professional trajectory and quality of life. Please join us in our mission to help the world speak more confidently, effectively, and inclusively. Thank you.
Great job, Nico. Any judges want to join us for some questions? I know Edgar's having trouble getting video on, but he's still here.
No, I definitely have a question. What's up, Nico? It's been a little while. I love that you keep pushing. So one thing I know I've personally faced, and a lot of people I have mentors, and sometimes corporate America, if we don't speak clearly, our grammar's off, we're kind of being they dismiss us, right? Even though we might have crazy work ethic, show up every day and all this stuff, but occasionally you only need someone via Zoom, especially now, and especially, via email. So what have you seen in terms of corporate America? Have they been more adapted to this? Like, what's your pitch to them to ensure, individuals like myself can stay in a corporation and grow and, hopefully get to the executive level and not being dismissed because maybe my grammar's a little off, maybe I'm not using punctuality correctly, but yet, my work ethic is there.
I like the question. Above all, being your real authentic self is what's going to take you there. With Speeko, we help people unlock that and understand their voice, become self-aware of those habits that maybe others are perceiving and they're not aware of that. So when we think about today, where we are, it is the golden age for your voice. Your voice is your brand. Sometimes that's how we know our colleagues. And it's so important now to invest in yourself, in how you communicate and how you speak, how you present yourself to the world. We see organizations who are struggling to scale how they are teaching employees, whether they're remote or in-house, how to encourage them to become self-aware, be considerate, speak with empathy and compassion. And these are important things that are only going to become more important the more distributed workforces are, and the more we are working, today's knowledge worker is working the majority of the day online over video and things like this. The more that we are going that direction, the more important this kind of communication and this kind of nudging to improve your self-awareness becomes more important.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to be very self-conscious. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sonia, after you.
All right. Hi, Nico. Great product, great presentation. And I definitely have family members who would benefit from this. So Thank you for building it. Talk to me a little bit about your go-to-market. So you touched on your growth rate. Congrats. Maybe going from where you are today to 1 million people using the app. What does that look like, and how do you get there?
Our best source of growth is someone telling their friends about our product. By far, those kinds of organic referrals are what's most important. So if you're someone that really struggles with this, like the majority of people do, if this has value to you, you're likely to tell your friends, your colleagues. Maybe if you're feeling bold, you might even tell your boss, right? So we're really counting on that kind of organic growth. We're also looking ahead to dipping our toe into digital marketing. There's a lot of opportunities we see where we can help get in front of people who are searching for Speeko. Typically, someone will find Speeko because they just got feedback from a colleague or performance review or just a friend, and they're searching for something. So if we can find those people in those moments, we can help them in those moments. And then you can use Speeko for a long period of time, because speaking is not something that just fixes itself overnight. It's something you have to take many hours, years to work on, to get better and improve on and really invest in. So that's how we're going to be growing, especially at the B2C level. And then, as I mentioned, later this year, we're launching our B2B. And that means doing some early pilots with organizations to prove the effectiveness of our product, which luckily we've been battle testing at the consumer level now, to show the efficacy, to show the data in a way that's never been before possible.
We do have a couple seconds left, Jason, if you want to ask real quick.
Yeah, it was kind of similar, which is B2C or B2B the bigger opportunity? I know you're doing both. How do you maintain focus and not get distracted by doing both?
Our strength as a team is focus. We have been methodical about not taking on more than we can handle, and that's led us to where we are today with our product that's helping over 100,000 people. The bigger opportunity, though, is at the organization level. So instead of selling Speeko to one person at a time, selling Speeko to one organization and helping that whole organization upskill and improve as a whole body. So that's where we're going eventually. There's things that we need to build engineering wise to get there. That's why we're being methodical in how we do this, but that's the biggest opportunity for us.
All right, thanks so much, Nico. Great job. And now our final presentation is coming from Princess Oti and Kaoshi.
Hello, thanks for having me. Can you hear me loud and clear? I think you're mute, Desiree, but it's fine. I'll just go ahead.
Oh,
I can hear you.
We're good.
Okay, perfect. I'll just share my screen. Just give me 1 second. Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Oti Princess. I'm the COO of Kaoshi, which is financially connecting immigrants to their home countries. Immigrants have financial obligations in their home countries. In fact, the World Bank estimates this figure to be about $715 billion that immigrants send back to their home countries annually. However, meet John, whose father just fell ill and is trying to run around to get local currency to send to his dad to deal with that. John doesn't have the direct access to health insurance plans that could have actually helped him with this situation at the moment. In the same vein, meet Anita, who is trying to buy and surprise her mom back in her home country with a car for her birthday, but she can't do that because she hasn't got the money saved, or she hasn't access to financing, which she would have if the car was to be bought and used in the US. Despite the financial activity in this space and the immigrant obligations in their home countries, immigrants still have very sparse access to services that are dealing with their financial needs back in their home countries. And there's just no one platform where they can go and access a feed and just feel of services that are addressing their financial needs back in their home countries. But of course, not for long. Enter Kaoshi. Kaoshi is building the immigrants' one-stop shop for their finances back in their home country. So immigrants are able to come on one platform and compare and shop across different service providers, ranging from remittance to cash advance to investment to health insurance. So John can actually come on the platform and purchase health insurance plan for his dad. And the same way you have any can come on the platform as well and purchase a financing option to pick one for her mom and buy her mom's cancer price her back in her home country. So they have this plethora of different services they can actually choose from and compare and pick the best that works for them and pay monthly as they used to in their current countries of residence. So just to give you a glimpse of how it works, this is just one of our launch product, actually, our beta launch product, the remittance product. You can see John trying to source 2 different providers of remittance to figure out the best way to send money from the US to Kenya, combining the rates and fees. He's able to even pick the transfer method as well and select the best one for him at the moment or at any given time. In the same vein, John can also come on the platform and select the best health insurance provider that kind of meets his needs for his dad and pay for that monthly as he's used to here in the US. And that's the power of what we're actually building. We're building access to services across borders, meeting the immigrants' direct needs back in their home countries. We've partnered with people that financial partners across the globe to allow us to do what we do. These are a few of them. And then we make money by a monthly tiered subscription model, a freemium model as well. And we also charge or collect a commission on sales made through our platform by our partner financial institutions. We're actually currently in the private beta launch stage. And so far it's been quite interesting because we've seen that since December up until this point, we've seen at least a 42% month-on-month growth in the amount of people that have actually signed up on the platform and a 38% minimum transaction volume month-on-month growth in the past 4 months. So I can't actually wait till we actually go fully public and see what we achieve in that time. The team is made up of myself, Princess Oti. I'm Kaoshi COO. I am a lawyer, very interestingly, but I'm invested in regulations and compliance, and I've been in this space for about 7 years plus. We have Chuki, who is Kaoshi CEO, who is a PhD candidate in theoretical physics at University of Chicago, and who is very, very versed in fintech. We have a very robust team dealing with the tech and marketing, and who can actually take Kaoshi to where it needs to be. Thank you very much.
Great job, Princess. And now if the judges can come on.
Sure. So I've never invested in a fintech so far. So I would love to use you to jump capital. I mean, those guys are doing amazing work. So if you're open to it, I love you for you to meet those guys. Because I'll just be honest with you, it's a little more than what I've done in the past, and I don't want to direct you the wrong way. But I love what you're doing. I saw some videos about the work you guys have done. Me being Latino, and obviously transferring money from the States to Mexico, it's not super easy, and especially I love the functionality. So on a personal level, I love the product. But just to be completely transparent, haven't invested in one. So if you're cool with it, hopefully Desiree can do an intro and I get you with the people with Jump Capital.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Princess, I love the idea of empowering this market to pay lower rates to remit money back home. I think it's super smart to sell financial products while you do it. If you're paid a commission on some of these transactions, is there not an incentive for you to present the options in such a way where those that are getting a bigger commission and maybe more expensive are more lucrative for your business? How do you convince your customers that you have their best interest in mind while still building an enterprise trying to grow?
That's the whole point. We're actually building an entire ecosystem. So for example, I showed you a slide of health insurance providers, which means that they had the option of picking from each different provider. So you can have a provider that has a cheaper option or one that has a more expensive option, but with a better package. So they actually have the option of choosing amongst different packages, different price points, and picking the best for them at each given point. So they're not really being sold one product, but they're being sold several packages with options. Your money, your decision. So they get to choose what they spend money on, having the idea of what each package from each provider of financial service is for.
Great. Sonia, do you want to add a question?
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how you've been finding customers to date.
So the immigrant market is quite interesting. You find immigrants in different WhatsApp groups, in different Facebook groups, and church groups. So we've been actually going to infiltrate these different communities in churches, WhatsApp groups, and the same way WhatsApp actually blew up because immigrants started using it, and we kind of went viral with word of mouth. So we're trying to use that reality that comes with being in a community. So church groups, WhatsApp groups so far have really proven effective in getting people to come on the platform, but eventually in future we intend to basically go above the line with our marketing, with a marketing plan. So to involve things like targeting immigrant influencers that deal with the immigrant demographic, and then allow that community to kind of grow. So we're trying to foster the community growth, and that's the way we saw WhatsApp grow. And that's the way we want Kaoshi to be the go-to app for financial connection, the same way WhatsApp is the go-to app for social connection.
Wonderful. Does anyone else have any last minute questions? No? Okay. Well, Princess and everyone else, thank you so much for sharing your business visions with us. It was really inspiring as a first opportunity to engage with TechRise, so thank you. And now, while the judges go and deliberate and decide who's going to be the winner, we are excited to introduce you to two of the members from the Verizon team, and they're going to share some information about the efforts that Verizon has had. So we're going to start first with Stephen Shaw, the Community Engagement Director at Verizon, and then we'll welcome a little Q&A with me and Dylan Siegler, our Corporate Social Responsibility Strategist from Verizon. So thank you both and welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Desiree. And on behalf of Verizon, it's so good to be here for this initial pitch competition. Verizon is a founding partner of TechRise, and I just want to give a brief, some brief context as to show why and how Verizon fits in, how TechRise fits into Verizon's strategy. And as an aside note, it's been great working with Desiree to stand this up. Verizon has what we call Citizen Verizon. It is our responsible business plan, and it really contemplates three areas. It looks at economic, it looks at environmental, and it looks at social advancement. And so the three pillars of TechRise, of Citizen Verizon include digital inclusion, climate protection, and human prosperity. And so I'll focus on the human prosperity piece because that's where this type of innovation that you see here at TechRise fits in. So human prosperity is largely focused on workforce efforts. And at Verizon, we're looking at workforce not just in the traditional placement and program placement and job training, but we're also looking at it through the lens of small business, especially the tech enablement of small businesses. And we're also looking at it as a way to support under-resourced tech entrepreneurs. And so obviously TechRise was built to really support Black and Latinx tech entrepreneurs. And so there is an entire portfolio at Verizon within our CSR group that looks at this type of innovation. And I'm so glad that one of my colleagues, Dylan, could join because we are about to launch a new innovative solution within this portfolio that will look at social entrepreneurship. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to, well, I guess Desiree and Dylan will have a little back and forth. But again, it's great to be here, and Verizon is proud to be a founding partner in this initiative.
Thank you, Stephen. We're so grateful to have you as a thought partner and, of course, as a foundational partner. And your support means so much to us and to the founders across our city who are going to benefit from this effort. So thank you for being here. And Dylan, it's so nice to meet you virtually and to have you on the TechRise stage. And we're excited to hear more about the Verizon Forward for Good Accelerator. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is and what you're hoping to achieve with the program?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's been so inspiring to be here and be a fly on the wall for these presentations from all these innovators. And so I look forward to many more. I'm going to tune in. So to answer your question, the Verizon Forward for Good Accelerator is a multi-year initiative to partner startups with industry experts, technology leaders, all to drive social change. We're looking to accelerate emerging solutions that use disruptive technologies. So that might mean 5G, mobile edge computing, AI, XR, et cetera. Our goal is to get technology solutions in front of the right people and into the hands of people who need those solutions most. Our first cohort is going to focus on climate justice. So this will be looking to scale solutions for communities who are disproportionately affected by the climate crisis.
Sorry, the judges were asking me for something really fast and I got sidetracked, but I am back. Okay, sorry. So for startups specifically, I know you talked about it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about the benefits for participating?
Absolutely. So startups in Forward for Good will receive, first of all, non-dilutive funding. Also, we're providing mentorship, education, and really exposure over 16 weeks in the program. Verizon will be providing access to industry experts, cutting edge technology. All of this is meant to help startups grow and get their technologies working for those who are most in need. Applications are actually live right now. They're open until April 30th. So we encourage anyone who has a technology they think would be worthy to go to verizonforwardforgood.com, take a look at the terms and conditions, see if you qualify, and please apply.
Great. And then when do the applications end?
Applications end April 30th, and then the 16-week program starts shortly after that. So that's it's pretty soon. It's coming right around the corner.
And I mean, I think we all know why climate justice is so important, but do you want to speak specifically a little bit more about why it's so important to Verizon and the role that you all play in our cities and our world?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Verizon historically has been really focused on our own operations and how we affect climate emissions. What we, and I think the governments globally, the grassroots, and other corporates have begun to realize is that climate change is a people issue. We are interested in helping communities survive and thrive. And we think that Verizon has our core capabilities in technology and in networks really can help communities to do that. We think, first of all, a way that we can be of service is to mobilize this external technology innovator community, provide what we have in terms of resources to really get those who are innovating on the cutting edge of climate justice to help communities, first of all, become more resilient, because we think that communities that are more resilient can help lead to a situation where society is more just.
Great, thank you so much. And then Stephen, I don't know if you can share any more about, Citizen Verizon or how you're engaging with other cities across the country, but, I think it'd be great to share with our audience kind of how big this vision is. And, you don't usually expect this much from a corporate engagement program. And it seems like you guys are just doing so many things at once to make an impact. And
well, in addition to, thank you, Desiree. In addition to Forward for Good, which is an accelerator that Verizon is standing up within this Black and Latinx tech accelerator portfolio, TechRise is the first effort. We are also, and I was just on a program with Div Inc. The other night. So Div Inc. is an organization that was started in Austin, and they are expanding to the Houston market, where they can not only accelerate through programming Black and Latinx tech entrepreneurs, but also provide some of this early stage non-dilutive funding, just like we're doing here with TechRise. And so Div Inc. and TechRise are the first two efforts, and Verizon is seeking to increase these entrepreneurship accelerator hubs for technology across the country. And I know we have goals of doing up to, I think, 20 different hubs or hubs in up to 20 different cities. And so we're, of course, proud to kick off this effort here in Chicago.
Great, thank you. And then is the Accelerator for Good, the Forward for Good accelerator one of many accelerators you're going to be running, or is it a pilot program? And we'll see what happens. Love to hear a little bit more.
So yeah, this is a good question, Desiree. Verizon Forward for Good is a platform that will be multi-year in nature. So the first 6 months will be focused on climate justice. Then we'll move on to another social impact issue area that's important to Verizon and important to the world. So we're looking to keep this really going. And we'd also be interested in hearing from individuals in the startup community. What social impact issues are you interested in seeing a Verizon Forward for Good accelerator focus on in the future?
Well, I mean, as we heard from the founders today, like making the world a better place is kind of core, I think, to the vision of most founders. And so it's really exciting to see Verizon be such a wonderful partner to founders across the country and seeing their visions come to life, especially when it intersects with the social good and the opportunities around that. So thank you both so much for taking the time. I'm really hoping that the judges have made their decision, because I think we're at the time. But let me just double check. And I guess while we're trying to eat up a little bit of time here, do you guys have any questions for me about TechRise or what we're going to do next? I will happily just talk about it then.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this. I think that it's exciting not only to get these founders, get the exposure, and for the winner, get these early stage non-dilutive dollars in their pockets to expand. I think the whole notion of having this quality of founder being able to host these competitions on a weekly basis, I think the cadence of that is something that can hopefully spur further entrepreneurship from our communities that have been overlooked for so long. So I think this will have a great catalytic effect in Chicago and hopefully across the nation.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. I mean, some of the people watching know me and maybe know my story, but having started 2 businesses here in Chicago, one of the first social ventures really that kind of came on stage, which was Give Forward, an early crowdfunding platform. It was really tough raising money here initially because, VC said things to me like, why would anyone ever give without a tax deduction? And this sounds like a nonprofit. And it was clear that the VCs that I was pitching at the time had never experienced, what it's like to be a single mom trying to pay the bills while their child is sick, or, never lost the breadwinner and needing to figure out how to pay the bills. And so, fast forward to Parachute, we had a similar problem where it's a kids activity marketplace, and just a lot of the VCs had never spent 3 hours looking for floor hockey for a 7-year-old. So one of our big goals with TechRise and bringing the visibility in a program like this is to just help create some pattern recognition around the problems to be solved by diverse founders. We first-time founders usually tackle problems that we know personally, and that often means consumer. And so it's really important that the funding ecosystem understands the magnitude of the problem that we're solving so that they can better understand how to fund it and how to support it as we get stage to stage. So it looks like our judges are back, and maybe Sonia's in charge of announcing the winner. Can we invite all of the before you say it out loud, can we invite the videos back on for all of our founders? So we can get kind of the full excitement, hopefully, in the moment. Oops. Eric, can you come back on? Nico, can you come back on? Video-wise? All right. Okay, and let's see who the winner is of somewhere over $26,000. I'm not sure exactly the dollar amount, but I will find out for you. All right, you want to announce it?
Yeah, so first, obviously, appreciate everybody. Desiree, obviously having us all. I want to thank all the participants. I'd like to meet with all of you guys, help you guys out wherever I can, so hopefully that's suitable. But I think, when we congregated together, we thought, like, what's a really big problem, at least for me personally, being Mexico, sending a lot of money to family members here, making sure it's going on the right benefit, not being spent poorly. We decided to go with Princess. And so congratulations. You are the winner.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. This is great. Thank you. Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you, TechRise. Thank you, panel. Thank you so much. Thank you, the panel. Thank you, TechRise. I'm so grateful.
Well, we're so grateful that you all had the courage to come on here. And Princess, congratulations. And thank you to our judges, Jason, Edgar, and Sonia. It really means so much that you spent this time with us. And to everyone who is watching, I hope you will continue to tune in for future TechRise events. And for the founders that didn't win this week, I want everyone to know, and they already know this, that they're welcome to come back and pitch for a future week. So this is not goodbye forever. This is just goodbye for today. And thank you all again so much. As a reminder, if you are at home thinking of an idea and you think that you'd love to step up onto this stage, please come and apply at techrise.co/apply. And then if you want to support next week's founders, it's going to be 5 idea stage founders. So maybe not quite as polished with decks as this. It's going to be more conversational and really trying to replicate what it would be like to pitch a rich uncle over Thanksgiving dinner if you had a rich uncle. So that's what it's going to be like next week. And we welcome you all to come and join for that one. And of course, please contribute to support the prize money for that week. All right. Congrats again, Princess. And thank you all again. Great job.